Hey, what's up everybody? Video 44 coming at you with another video. All right, so there's a situation going on with my phone that's not allowing me to upload videos that I recorded yesterday. And while I don't really care about too many of them, the one that I don't want to not have right is the Sacramento versus Memphis play-in tournament game prediction. So what I want to do is make that video again, and I'll just delete the other one. It was a good one too, but it ain't gonna be up in time. That game is what, 7 hours from now, and that thing is not uploading at all. So God knows what the problem is, but I'm not going to play with it because in this particular phone, things upload fine. So yeah, man, Sacramento and Memphis. The thing about this game and what I was breaking down yesterday in regards to this game is that I was really on the fence about whether or not the Memphis guard lineup and the combination of Zach Edey and Jaren Jackson could overpower the significant length and size advantage that the Dallas Mavericks are going to have in a one-game situation. With Dallas coming off of a pretty good show against Sacramento, a bad Sacramento team, but you know, they played well against them. You guys play who's in front of you. And I thought that Dallas did a really good job of finding something out of people other than Anthony Davis. Brandon Williams played well. PJ Washington played pretty well. Daniel Gafford, Max Christie. You know, they were able to get stuff out. Klay Thompson played extremely well. So they were able to get something out of others. And that's really what's important. It can't just be the centers specifically with the ability to impose their will if the Dallas Mavericks want to have success. And so my thing was, if the Memphis Grizzlies clearly have the guard advantage, even though their guards don't really create for others, if they got it going, it could be really, really effective. And Jaren Jackson, though one man, is a hell of a man to deal with, even for a team with a significant amount of centers that are playing at a much higher level than maybe your average fleet of centers on one team. I look at Jaren Jackson as somebody who can at least slow down one of them people. Anthony Davis, if not Anthony Davis, he could try to neutralize PJ. You know, Gafford may not get as easy buckets as usual. I don't really know the rotation of the Dallas Mavericks as well, but Kai Jones did play well. I don't think he would get too many minutes when everybody's healthy, but you know, Derek Lively is obviously somebody they have to deal with the center position, and they really just don't have a real threat, in my opinion, at the center position for Memphis outside of Jaren Jackson Jr. Zach Edey is obviously there, and I don't want to disrespect Zach Edey, but I just think he's a bit under strength, if that's a way of putting it. He just don't have the strength. I look at him and I say, until he gets some lower body strength, until he gets in the gym for about 2 or 3 years and really works on his conditioning as it pertains to strength building, I just don't have a whole lot of faith in him against a wave of talented centers. You know what I mean? Guys are just stronger than him. And that's what I see there. Guys are just stronger than the man. And that was what showed against the Golden State Warriors to me at times. He just couldn't power through people like I need him to if I'm going to take him seriously against that fleet of centers. And then after that, you're talking about backup guys at the center position. It's my guy from the Lakers. Can't think of his name right now. Always doing reverse dunks. Can stretch the floor some. I like him a lot, but like that's the third center they got. They got to play small ball against a team that's constructed with nothing but big players, and then from there, feisty perimeter defenders. So if I'm going to assume that the Memphis Grizzlies are going to be able to impose their will with their guards, I got to take into account that they're going to have strong defenders on them. Nobody that I would expect to stop Ja Morant. But as a Laker fan, I know Max Christie can track him. Najee Marshall, I know, can track him if he's on him. You know, Spencer Dinwiddie, if they decide to go to him, I know that he can track him some. Spencer Dinwiddie was a plus defender for the Lakers at times. It was his offense we couldn't get nothing out of. Brandon Williams has shown he could be a feisty defensively. Klay Thompson, before he got hurt, was one of the better defenders in the league. He still has great fundamentals in that way. So it's like you're going to have strong defenders on the one thing that you can use to impose your will on a team. And then I look at what it is that you have to slow them down, or what it is that they can flex on, and I don't see as much resistance. So for me, That's kind of how I'm looking at this. Just from a strictly basketball standpoint, plus the coaching situation. Obviously, Memphis fired their coach, so they're using an interim right now. And, Jason Kidd is one, he's a decorated coach. He was in the NBA Finals last year. So I like the coaching, obviously, for Dallas, just off the strength of the circumstance. Now, Dallas has had some distractions and things like that as of late, but I think Dallas has already proven that they can play through those distractions with the Sacramento game. So now I look at this matchup and I say, okay, 12 has been playing well. He looks like himself. But now he's going to have a bunch of shot blockers in the paint. He could try to get those guys in foul trouble, but he's probably not going to want to test them too much in the paint in theory. So it's going to be incumbent upon the shot makers of the Memphis Grizzlies, in my opinion, to hit shots. You need Desmond Bane to hit shots. You need Vince Williams if he's going to play to hit shots. You need Scottie Pippen Jr. to hit shots. You need Ja Morant to hit shots. And do I trust Ja Morant as a shot maker? Not from behind the arc. Not from behind the arc. To me, he's best drawing fouls driving at the rim. And what is he going to meet at the rim? Anthony Davis, Derek Lively, Daniel Gafford, PJ Washington. Too many. Way too many shot blockers. So then it's about, okay, Meanwhile, what you got going on is Jaren Jackson Jr. having to deal with all of these people. Zach Edey, the rookie, who don't have any real strength to his body, even though he's bigger than everybody else, having to guard all these people. And they're going to be taking advantage of him, getting these guys in foul trouble. Jaren Jackson is known for getting in foul trouble. So in a one-game situation, can I trust he's not going to be getting in foul trouble when you got a bunch of centers down there who are going to look to be aggressive? If they know what the hell they're doing, they're going to be more aggressive because he's prone for getting in foul trouble. So I just write him off as somebody who's going to get in foul trouble in this game just off the strength of the matchup. So now I'm looking at Zach Edey, and I'm saying, what the hell are you going to do with all these people? Get his ass whooped. That's what he's going to do. So then I have to turn back and I say, okay, they got the home court advantage from Memphis. That works in their favor. But now I need Zaldama to play really well. I need Vince Williams, whoever's going to be on the floor, play very well. I need Luke Kennard. He needs to be hitting shots. I just don't have a whole lot of confidence that the strength of the Dallas Mavericks isn't going to dominate on both sides of the floor, especially if they continue to attack the paint, for which they did against Sacramento. And that may not be as easy with Edey and Jaren down there. But as I said, the idea is to get easy buckets and force those centers, the few centers that they have to use, into foul trouble. From there, control the glass, provide rim protection for yourself for driving Ja Morant and Scottie Pippen, and just be aggressive with guys like Brandon Williams, Najee Marshall, and Klay Thompson. And Max Christie, just be aggressive. Because you don't have to be world beaters. You don't have to win your matchup. You just got to do good on both sides of the floor in a game like this on the road. You got to play great. You got to play good, but not great. Anthony Davis, just be yourself. You're going to get easy buckets once Jaren sits down, for which you're going to have to sit down one way or another. PJ Washington, hit your shots. Daniel Gafford, attack like you always do. Derek Lively, block shots on the defensive end specifically. Be a ridiculous rim protector when Anthony Davis ain't on the floor. When you got all of that going on, now it's just about, can the Memphis Grizzlies hit long-range shots, because they're not getting in the paint. And can they do so with solid to decent perimeter defenders on them? Max Christie going to track you. Najee Marshall going to track you. See what I'm saying? Brandon Williams going to track you. Klay Thompson going to do the best he can with his body at this point, but he's got the fundamentals and he's stretching the floor on the other end. You got to keep from hurting him. I mean, from fouling him behind the three-point line is what I'm trying to say. If Klay Thompson has it going, it's all bets off. And now you got to deal with Max Christie, who you don't know if he's going to have a good game. Max may be able to hit from the mid-range a little bit, put you in foul trouble, driving at the rim, stuff like that. So it's like, and if Najee continues to be a playmaker like he's been, to be aggressive like he's capable of being, I just see a need for the Memphis Grizzlies to hit shots from far away. So the way I see it is, Desmond Bane needs to be shooting great. Scottie Pippen needs to be hitting his shots. John Morant needs to be hitting his shots. Luke Kennard needs to be hitting his shots. Saldama needs to be hitting his shots. Aldama, or I never say his name right. Asante Aldama. They need to be able to connect from behind the arc, in theory, so long as the centers of the Dallas Mavericks are creating ridiculous contests defensively in the paint, keeping guys like Pippen and Ja from having their way in the paint. Offensive rebounds and stuff like that, there's too many centers on the Dallas Mavericks in theory to think that Jaren Jackson and Edie are going to be able to out-rebound those people. In theory, it don't look like that's going to happen on paper. So what do you have? You have a need for shooters to hit shots in Memphis who are not great shooters. They're good shooters, but they're not great shooters. And then you have the need for the Dallas Mavericks to do what it is that they're constructed to do, which is block shots, contest in the rim, change shots, and then from there get easy buckets over people that they should be able to get buckets over. It's just constructed for Dallas to win the game. It's constructed for Dallas to win the game. Unless Kennard hits like 5 threes, Desmond Bane hits like 6 threes, that kind of thing. But the rim protection is going to be there even if Dallas gets in foul trouble, because they have so many centers. And the ability for Dallas to stretch the floor enough may be there because they have PJ, because they have Clay. Max may be able to stretch a little bit. You see what I'm saying? So it's just, I think this game, after giving it a night, after making the video I made, I did end up picking the Dallas Mavericks to win the game. I'm going to double down on that. I still feel the exact same way a day later. The Dallas Mavericks should win the game, man. I know it's not in their building, but the Memphis Grizzlies are lacking their coach. They don't have the front court help to really offset the plethora of centers that are coming at them. And after watching Dallas in the last game be committed to scoring in the paint, if they don't deviate from that plan going into this matchup, they should still be successful. Now, it's a one-game situation, so a lot of things can go wrong. A lot of things can go wrong. Right, if you're a Memphis fan, Ja could go for a massive 50-point game or something like that. Yeah, that could change things for sure. Desmond Bane go for 50. That could change things for sure. You know, Scottie Pippen Jr. can go for 1,000,000 points. That could change things for sure. But at the end of the day, I tell you the truth, man. I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't love Dallas in most situations. But in this situation, I just think they attack the Memphis Grizzlies in the exact way that the Memphis Grizzlies can't afford to be attacked. And that's having enough rim protection to keep their guards out of the damn paint, particularly Ja and Scottie. And with them, Memphis being down so many main pieces that helped them get as far as they've gotten here. Jalen Wells haven't gone down very recently. Brandon Clark haven't gone down recently. The trades that ended up sending people out left and right. Jake LaRavia gone. Marcus Smart gone. You got Marvin Bagley. He can be, you know what I mean? He's another player that you have to consider in their front court. But, like, does he scare me in any way when I'm the Dallas Mavericks with all these centers I got? Obviously not. So it's just this game requires a team that I don't really trust to hit shots like that. If John Morant can get hot from behind the arc, which is not really how he is, but if his three can really, really fall, and he can draw enough pressure to bring people out to guard him a little further than they normally would be able to, maybe he can dance around, speed past people, be able to attack from the mid-range. But I don't see him being able to have too much success in the paint without risking getting packed, offensive fouls. Maybe he can get some of them centers in foul trouble, but they just keep coming with more of them, attacking his team the same exact way. So I would tell Ja to be aggressive. You can't shy away from attacking the rim. The problem is, as a Laker fan, I would never advise anybody to drive at Anthony Davis. And if you saw how LeBron James played Anthony Davis in the last game, he refused to drive at the man. Those who know of Anthony Davis well enough know better than to try him like that. You don't try him like that. There are certain things that are as good as death and taxes. And Anthony Davis blocking your shot or making you miss is about as solid as that. So while I would tell John Morant to try certain people and to be aggressive because that may be the only path forward, the reality is if he does that against some of those guys, Anthony Davis and Derek Lively specifically, I don't know that John's going to have success at all. He may be able to connect on 1 or 2 shots, but it may require him to be aggressive all night. And all that's going to do is leaving him punishment. And Anthony Davis is amazing at verticality, so I would not suggest it. You may take all types of punishment. They weren't going to call a damn thing. And so it's just like Anthony Davis is the wrong type of rim protector for the type of problems that the Memphis Grizzlies can't afford to take on. Derek Lively is the wrong type of rim protector. These guys know how to do these things without fouling. You see what I'm saying? They know, and so that's my point of view. Daniel Gafford is far up too much, and that's why I'm with others. I've heard people like Stephen A. Smith and several others. Listen, if the Dallas Mavericks were constructed with better guard play, they would be a contender, you guys. Because this is the problem they're going to propose to all teams. That they just have so much rim protection that it's going to require teams to hit shots to beat them. If you can't hit shots, you're not going to beat a team like that when they're constructed properly. Kyrie Irving, I would say they need to make Kyrie a 2 going forward, especially if he's coming back from a knee injury. I don't know if he wants to be a 2 per se, but they're going to need a real, and I always mention this guy, but like a Josh Giddey type of dude who's going to get the ball to a million different people, get a million assists, Alonzo Ball type of guy. They're going to need that player in regular rotation so that he can get Anthony Davis the ball, so they can get PJ Washington the ball, etc. You're going to really need that piece. And because Dallas doesn't have that piece, I don't think they can really do nothing in the playoffs. But that vision of having all those centers, it's not the worst thing in the world. They just don't have the other pieces to really make that make sense. If they acquire the right facilitators at multiple positions, because I do think it's going to be incumbent upon them to have multiple facilitators, not just 1 or 2. You're going to need the rest of your guys. Essentially going to have to be experts at getting guys the ball. That would be what I would be looking for. Nothing but playmakers and defenders that can play make, scorers that can play make. If you don't have that can play make in your resume, I wouldn't want you if I'm the Dallas Mavericks going forward. We're going to need about 6 of them people. But if they can get them and they keep that center 5 or 6, however many centers they got, if they keep them together, yeah, Dallas is going to be a real problem, you guys. A real problem. A real problem. And that's what I want people to understand. It's not as simple as, oh, they traded Luka and they're going to suck. No, they have a good vision. It's just they don't have the guards to make it make any sense. They don't have those guards. And then furthermore, the guy who could really like spearhead that for the time being went down with the injury. That doesn't mean that I think that Luka trade was any good. Of course not. The trade was terrible. But the vision to align yourself with a bunch of talented shot blockers who could potentially stretch the floor is fantastic. That's a good vision. It's a good vision. And so that's what I want people to understand. That's a good vision. Only one of those people that hasn't been accused of being able to hit a 3-point shot is Daniel Gafford. PJ can shoot. Derek Lively in the combine was a fantastic corner shooter. I don't know if they've asked him to shoot any in the NBA, but I haven't forgotten that. It's only been 2 years. The boy couldn't miss in the combine from behind the arc. He's capable of shooting the 3. You don't need him to most of the time, but if he's left back there, you think you can play off of him. I don't think he's incapable of hitting that shot. In fact, he could probably string together several of them. Anthony Davis, not a great 3-point shooter, but I've been watching him be able to hit shots for 6-7 years now. So it's not like these guys can't stretch the floor. They can. And they can keep your best players out of the paint. And so this is just like Memphis. I don't think Memphis is really in a position to really stop that. I don't think so. I don't doubt that Memphis, if they get hot from behind the arc, they could do some good things. You know, Aldama can hit a shot or two. Kennard, if he gets hot, yeah. Desmond Bane, those guys got to hit multiple threes tonight, man. They got to hit multiple threes, each of them. Jaren Jackson got to hit threes tonight. You got to render that rim protection useless, in my opinion. Now, this is a bit more relevant if this were an actual series, because you get a constant wave of the same thing over and over again. In a one-game situation, you never know what you're going to expect. So it's much more difficult to simply expect that this can't happen, or that these dynamics are going to be what shows up in a one-game situation. Who knows? Anything could happen in a one-game situation. But I just think that when you see what Dallas just did against Sacramento, it was incumbent upon the Sacramento Kings to try to keep Dallas from scoring in the paint. They just kept spamming the paint over and over again with their bigs. And Klay Thompson was hitting shots. It was just impossible for the Sacramento Kings to keep up with that. And so tonight, Memphis, I kind of think has some of the same problems Sac does in certain ways. Kind of the same problems. Defensively, particularly, they're not going to be very strong defensively. Jaren is a fantastic defensive player, but he's only one man. And the rest of their team is not really great defensively. Ja's not that great defensively. Bane is not particularly great defensively. Aldama's not great defensively. Scotty can be a hassle, but he's like 6'1", bro. Them rim protection is going to render him useless driving at the rim. So if they're doing what they're supposed to do. Maybe you could try to force steals on Dallas. That might be the way to go. Try to swarm Anthony Davis. Try to hopefully get him in transition. Get steals off of him in transition and drive at the rim that way. Not let the Dallas Mavericks set up their defense. But their centers can run the floor. Anthony Davis is probably the worst one at it. So that would be my suggestion as somebody who watched him for 6 years. You kind of just want to swarm him, steal the ball for him, and hopefully his turnovers can trigger your transition scoring opportunities. That would be what I would say for the Memphis Grizzlies. And they get Ja Morant and Scotty driving at the rim, speeding to the highest order down off of those turnovers. That's if they can score a good 35, 40 points that way, I think it'll go a long way in them trying to protect their home court tonight. But if they just try to play straight up against Dallas, they really need to be able to hit three-point shots tonight. That's what I see. That's exactly what I see there, man. And so I still got Dallas winning this game. No problem. No problem. I don't know if it's going to be an easy game. Yeah, like I've been wrong about every prediction in this play-in tournament except for Golden State. But this looks about as solid as any, man. I just don't see it. If Dallas do what they're supposed to do, if they did what they did against Sacramento, looking to spam the paint, I don't know how Jaren Jackson and Zach Edey are able to stop that, really. I really don't know. Against normal teams that have normal construction, I would say, yeah, for sure. That's great. But against this team with like 5 centers, I just don't think it's enough. I don't think it's enough. So that's pretty much what I got, man. DDL44, thank y'all for watching. Bye.